Lou, doing the bit from our other shows. This bit from our other shows is my favorite bit, Lou.
Hey, Heath, man, you got to say it, buddy?
Oh, hey, guys, what's up?
Well, it's about your essay for this week.
Oh, is there a problem or something?
No, it's a great essay. I mean, it's way better than Eli's, let me tell you.
Why, Cecil?
Obviously.
Not what this is about right
No,
now.
it's just that we've noticed kind of a pattern in the topics that you choose.
A pattern? I mean, I don't really notice
Pornhub.
that there was like a...
Yeah,
Okay,
history of cocaine, yeah.
right.
And now sexology?
Yeah. Well, those are interesting topics that I wish to share with inquiring listeners that we have.
Okay, yeah, I know.
they are
Shut up.
Okay.
We want to make sure that we're not falling into, like a pattern, a pattern.
Okay, again, with the pattern, no. I am just interested in these subjects, and I thought that our audience maybe would also be,
Heath,
and so
can
that's
I
why
ask
I'm doing
you,
them.
what's your next essay topic?
My Tinder bio.
Okay,
There
that's
it
what I
is.
thought.
There it
Yeah,
is.
That's what I thought.
What? It has words in it. Wild card. I'm the wild card.
Hello and welcome to Citation Needed, the podcast where we choose a subject, read a single article about it on Wikipedia, and pretend we're experts, because this is the internet, and that's how it works now. I'm Noah, and I'll be leading the charge this week, but I won't be alone in this menage a cinq. First up are two men whose wives regret not looking at the fine print on the marital vows more closely, Eli and Cecil.
It's okay. My father took back my vows during his toast, so I feel like we're squaresies for whatever Anna missed.
True story.
And you'd think my wife would be used to straining her eyes over looking at tiny little things,
Right? You said it, I just thought it. And also joining us tonight are two men who argue about which Muppet is sexiest, Tom and Heath.
I'm just saying Noah's thinking about my dick. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. I just want to throw that out there. Okay, sorry.
2 votes.
I keep telling you
2
guys,
votes.
it's Pepe the King Prawn, and I'm also thinking about your dick right now. And I'm going to take back King Prawn.
And I think it's Snuffleupagus and your dick is what I'm also thinking about.
It's more like the prawn, actually. Well, I'm more like the... Yeah.
Is it curled? Is it the curl?
It's not even a jumbo shrimp. It's like a regular shrimp.
See, I was actually making a joke about my dick, but I didn't want to tell you that because it's going to fuck up your relationship with your wife. So before we settle into the episode proper, we want to take 4 seconds to thank the patrons who make the show possible. So thanks. And if you'd like to learn how to join their ranks, be sure to stick around to the end of the show. And with that out of the way, tell us, Eli, what person, place, thing, concept, phenomenon, or event will we be talking about today?
We'll be talking about the history of sexology.
And Heath, as the most qualified person on the show to discuss sex from a do what now perspective, are you ready to enlighten us?
I've had sex with a woman. I have.
Citation needed.
All right, so Heath, what is sexology?
Great question. Sexology is the scientific study of human sexuality, sexual behavior, and all things cum-related. Also, women are involved sometimes, although they make it super complicated. But basically, sexology is the study of all the stuff people do in pursuit of sexual pleasure and orgasms.
Wait. All things cum related? Please tell me there is some lab somewhere with Erlenmeyer flasks spinning around testing the viscosity of jizz.
Be a Lawrence flask, but yeah.
I'm shooting a nice 10W30 these days. Oh, that protein helps. Does it thicken up in winter?
You gotta get the
All right, so
you gotta
Heath,
get the big mileage style. It's important.
all right, so I have a follow-up intro question. What is an orgasm?
Also a great question. So, from my research, an orgasm is the pleasing biological response that was granted by God to men for all the amazing work we do with our penis. It's also a reward for all our very patient mansplaining. And that's why we all have an orgasm together after these recordings. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, that's
A
why.
little bit. And allegedly, women are also involved, although they make it super complicated. And citations are obviously needed. But according to Wikipedia, orgasm, from the Greek orgasmos, meaning excitement, swelling, also sexual climax, is the sudden discharge of accumulated sexual excitement during the sexual response cycle, resulting in rhythmic muscular contractions in the pelvic region characterized by sexual pleasure.
What a sentence.
Because the Wikipedia editors couldn't go, come on, you know what an orgasm is? It's an orgasm. What are you, 9 and looking this up? You're 9 and looking this up, aren't you?
You know that there's some Wikipedia editor somewhere reading that over and over in candlelight to their Hitachi wand?
All right, so when does sexology first emerge?
Okay, so humankind has been doing uncontrolled studies about cum since day one.
It's got to be like a little controlled, or clean up as a total bitch. You know, it's gotta be
right. But the actual scientific field of sexology, it barely existed until the late 1800s. And the first sexologist, by most accounts, was a German guy. And,
of course it was.
Yeah, absolutely.
Shocking.
Of course it was.
German guy.
And his name was Richard Fridolin Josef Freiherr Kraft von Festenberg auf Franberg Genant von Ebbing.
Fucking what?
Or Richard Freiherr von Kraft Ebbing Genant von Ebbing for short. And he looks exactly like he sounds. So.
Like the cast of a German gangbang?
That is correct. Like Alex Jones took a Benadryl and deflated a little bit. Yeah, absolutely. You got it.
Okay, also, listeners, heads up. Pretty much all sexology is scooping the uterus out of your slave to see if you can wear it as a hat until like 1985. So there's a lot of that in this episode.
What? To be fair though, Eli, that is her fault. She should have remembered the safe word.
Jesus.
You know what I mean?
Fair.
You got to drill that into your slaves.
It's Toby.
Yeah.
Jesus. All right. So, Dickie Ebbs, Dickie Ebbs, published a book in 1886 called Psychopathia Sexualis.
Sexualis book.
Which is considered to be the work that first established the field of sexology. And as you might expect from a Christian pre-Nazi, for every sentence about data, there had to be another one about hate. So in addition to some insights into sexuality, the book also elevated homophobia from a hobby into a fucking science by theorizing that same-sex attraction is a mental illness caused by bad genetics. Oddly enough, this angered the Catholic Church at the time.
I'm not sure why.
Maybe the priests were leaning into it at that point. It's not clear. Anyway, the book was also notable for coining the terms sadism and masochism, and for being the first formal study of paraphilias, also known as coming from weird stuff. Big pin in that for later.
Also marked the first time in history when someone cleared their throat and went, Is that weird? Would we call that weird stuff? I don't know.
I gotta be honest. I feel like somebody did that a lot when they wrote the Bible too, but the second time maybe.
Yeah, I'm not sure we need to put names to all of this. Like, can't we just all wipe the sweat off ourselves and hug our knees in the shower like all good people? Name everything these days.
There should be a name for that. I like it. So another important early sexologist was a British doctor named Havelock Ellis. And as you might guess, his chief intention was telling the homophobic Nazi guy to go fuck himself. And also to challenge the stigma that surrounded being gay and the stigma surrounding masturbation. And
nailed it.
he was also the first to write about transgender being a thing, which made him a goddamn hero in my mind, like way ahead of his time. Up until I kept reading and found out that he went way too far. So his major work, published in 1897, is called Sexual Inversion.
If it's cold.
You don't know. You don't know. The pool was cold. And so Sexual Inversion, he's trying to be cool with everything in the book. But unfortunately, that included being cool with old men whose names rhyme with Schmavelock Schmellis fucking little boys. So that's where I went too far.
Is that weird? Would we call that weird? Is that a thing that's weird?
I think we found out why the Catholic Church was pissed about that other book. You know? Jesus.
So another notable scientist in the field was Ernst Grafenberg, and he is amazing. As a sexologist, he discovered the role of the pee hole in the female orgasm. And I genuinely don't even know where that's located. Like, seriously, I thought it was an ass peeing situation until like 2 years ago. I still don't know the whole story. I still don't know how it works.
You got to get a glass coffee table.
Gonna tell me. Okay. Anyway, besides the pee hole orgasm thing, Grafenberg also accomplished the nearly impossible several times in his life. He was a Jewish gynecologist in Berlin during the Third Reich. He survived the Holocaust. He invented the IUD using 1920s technology, and he literally found the G-spot. Like, that was him, the Grafenberg spot. That's him.
That's where he hid during the war, was the Grafenberg.
But seriously, like, that's the G in Grafenberg spot, G-spot. And allegedly, the G-spot, it's located 2 to 3 inches inside the colon on your birthday, and the rest of the time, it's located 2 to 3 inches up the anterior vaginal wall.
Wait. There's a wall of vaginas?
Don't give Trump any ideas.
Wait, think of how frustrated the Knights watched from Game of Thrones would have been if they were guarding a wall of vaginas. They would be driving their cars on the sidewalk in King's Landing, just running over pedestrians, man.
To be entirely fair, like, the existence of the G-spot is somewhat in dispute, but I can sort of see how that would work in the lab. It's like, so what you're saying is it's pretty much all about the clitoris?
Yes, that's pretty much where the action happens.
That's not... So how do I fuck that?
Well, sir, you can't fuck it exactly, but there's lots of fun to be had if you...
No. On an entirely unrelated note, I have just discovered an anatomical cum button conveniently located on the fuckable inside. I'm going to win every prize.
You're going to die alone.
What?
Nothing. Brilliant work, sir. Love it. Yeah. Button on the inside. That's real.
All right, so moving on in our history of sexology. Obviously, Sigmund Freud is another figure worth mentioning for his study of sexuality, but he deserves his own multi-episode series, and also he was wrong about pretty much all his stuff. So
he was not.
You was like, I do too want to fuck my mom.
Right about everything that post-Jungian society couldn't handle him.
All right. Moving on from that, we're going to skip ahead past Sigmund Freud to the United States in the 1930s, and that's when sexology really started picking up steam.
Now, please tell me that's a clever segue into a steam-powered vibrator being invented.
Too hot to handle.
Like one of the inventors we've dealt with invented that. That seems like something that would have happened. Anyway, so 1930s United States, that's when a guy named Alfred Kinsey started doing research with weirdly large amounts of funding from the Rockefeller Foundation. And this eventually led to his 2 major works, Sexual Behavior in the Human Male, published in 1948, and Sexual Behavior in the Human Female, which very appropriately came 5 years later.
It was more work, but it lasted long.
Right. And both books made it to the top of the bestseller lists and are considered seminal works in the field. Seminal.
Or squirtinal. Don't be sexist. They could be...
That's a great joke. Oh, that's a great joke.
Squirtinal.
I love how spell check has no problem with
Rolls
squirtinal.
right over. Doesn't like how he did spell don't, though.
I think I added squirtinal to our personal dictionary at some point. I think that's what
Squirtle
happened.
sounds like
Okay.
It's important.
Squirtle sounds like a very weird Pokemon character.
Those 2 books, by the way, are together referred to as the Kinsey Reports. And among their groundbreaking revelations was the discovery of a tiny little lady penis above the vagina that causes orgasms even better than the standard uterine orgasm.
Are we saying that, like, the clit wasn't found, like, officially found until 1950?
That is correct.
Because that
is correct, Tom.
Like, distressingly likely.
Also, it explains the baby boom.
Yeah.
What, you want to fuck now?
I'm pretty sure I think Shackleton found the clitoris, didn't he? Wasn't it Shackleton?
He circumnavigated it.
Should have done the alphabet on it. Stupid.
All right. So, in addition to putting out those 2 books, Kinsey was also the founder of the Kinsey Institute for Research in Sex, Gender, and Reproduction at Indiana University, originally called the Institute for Sex Research, or ISR. At first, they pretty much just existed to hide Kinsey's enormous collection of weird homemade porn, or as he called it, science data, shut up, this is serious, a bunch of which was probably illegal at the time. And some of it is definitely still illegal right now. But the Institute has slowly evolved over the years, and these days they're fully merged with the university, and they house a giant library, archive, and art collection dedicated to all things fuck. It's pretty great.
When Pence was Indiana's governor, he made one of those handmade outfits, but it was like giant, and he just threw it over the outside of the library. He just made it wear that.
I cue the sound of thousands of kids trying to balance the awesomeness of going to sex college with the horror of living in Indiana.
Right.
They have a wall of vaginas, but it's Indiana. Nope.
No. One other thing you might recognize Kinsey's name from is the Kinsey scale, also known as the heterosexual homosexual rating scale. This was his framework for thinking about sexuality as a continuous spectrum, with 0 representing exclusively heterosexual and 6 representing exclusively homosexual. He also added another category that he listed as X that represented essentially asexual.
And he used a sad face emoji with a knife and a gun to represent insults.
Right?
Yeah.
Please rate yourself on this scale based on who you are attracted to. Okay, good. And now on this scale, based on who is attracted to you.
You gave me a blank one, I think.
Yeah, we've taken the liberty to fill that out for you.
All right. So, despite being a pioneer in a field that desperately needed some pioneering and teaching the world some important new stuff about orgasms and being a major catalyst in the sexual revolution of the following decades, despite all that, there were a few problems with Kinsey's work. Just a couple. First of all,
Just a
the
few.
subjects he was observing, they didn't represent the general population very well. Also, he was ignoring volunteer bias. And most importantly, rather than finding a random sample, it appears he was finding a strangely large proportion of muscle-bound white men in prison who were into the same kinks as Alfred Kinsey. So that was skewing things a little bit as well.
He's just giving a presentation. Okay, so in this random sample,
Alfred, everyone in this study is in a high school swim team.
random sample.
Together?
Just random. I'm just sampling them randomly. Random.
High school swim team that all went to jail is what I'm now picturing. It's even crazier.
Just a bunch of Brock Turners.
They didn't go to jail for long.
There was another issue with Kinsey's work, though. He dedicated an entire section to studying the orgasms of pre-adolescent children.
What?
No, I want out.
Yeah.
I want out. What?
Apparently that volunteer bias applies to the scientists, too, sometimes in sexology. But despite the giant study of child cum, somehow this wasn't even mentioned as a problem with Kinsey's work until about 40 fucking years later. Not sure the fuck was happening that could distract the entire world from disturbing amounts of pedophilia. Maybe I was busy thinking and praying. Regardless, 40 years later, someone was like, hey man, quick question. Did your research include observations of orgasms in over 300 kids aged 2 months up to 15 years? And yes, it did. That's exactly what it had. in it.
Some guy who's worked there for 20 years is just like, Dave, this chart starts at 2 months. That can't be right. Oh, I quit the sexology. I quit. I'm going to go hang myself at home. You want anything? I'm going to go hang myself.
All these 50s parents enthusiastically dropping their toddlers off for pre-cum school. You know?
They're reading Dr. Seuss's lesser known works like, do you want to in some socks? No, I want to in a box. Would you in her hair? I've got cum just everywhere.
Patreon goal, guys. We'll get that animated.
Now, according to Kinsey, he got this data on these kids by asking adults about childhood memories or asking parents and teachers for their observations. Their observations of kids having orgasms.
At 2 months old, yeah.
Starting
Do you
at
remember
2
when you were
months
2
old.
months old and you came?
Or when you watched your 2-month-old come. Yeah. And worst of all, about Kinsey, if that's still possible, he claimed that he interviewed 9 pedophiles and asked them for detailed information about kids and their cum habits.
And if one wanted to review this data for science, where...
The fuck?
Wait, he interviewed 9 pedophiles. I bet you only had to visit one rectory to do that. You know?
I'll do it.
I'm going to sit this episode out, guys. I'm going to retroactively
Yeah, me too.
sit this one out.
Yeah. So turns out Kinsey himself, he had some pretty interesting sexual habits of his own.
What? No. What?
Yeah. Yep. And this almost certainly involved the sexual repression that was fostered by his extremely Christian parents. Kinsey was bisexual, but he was taught since childhood that homoerotic feelings are completely evil, and this led him to carry out self-punishment as a penalty for any sort of non-hetero impurity. Naturally, that included the penalties, tying a rope around his scrotum, shoving a toothbrush in his urethra, and then pulling on the rope as he got the toothbrush in there deeper.
What?
As a reward?
He should have gotten a girlfriend and switched to Oral B.
This guy's dick hole was so big when he came, it just fell out of him like a cat puking. You know, he's
That's an amazing
like,
image.
when he
That's
came,
an
he sort of backs up
amazing
just a
image.
little bit. You know, like how it just backs up a little, like burp, 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 blah, 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 and just falls right out of
Yep.
it.
That's real. Toothbrush. And apparently, that was brush side first.
What? I'm not sure if that matters now.
Yep. Well, Alfred Kinsey knows how to party. A biographer actually confirmed that in his research at some point. But how? I don't know, but that's a true fact. I checked up on some biographies. But I guess if anybody's qualified to spark a sexual revolution, it's the guy with a toothbrush in his dick hole. And
Jesus Christ.
speaking of amazing segues, I think that's time for a quick break and some apropos of nothing.
Gentlemen, the scientific endeavor we begin today shall be known as sexology. The time has come to leave behind the rank superstition and prudishness of the past, and for us, fearlessly, to explore one of the nearest and dearest parts of the human experience. In our work, we shall come up against some of the very core tenets upon which society is based. We will make ourselves the enemy of kings and churches, but we must push forward, whatever the obstacles, towards that ultimate goal of scientific truth.
Rule of fours.
Now, to our first point of business. Where exactly in the balls is the pea stored?
The front? I want to say front.
All right, class, settle down, settle down. Open your sexology textbooks to page 115. Today, we're going to be talking about the female anatomy.
Ew, cooties.
What was that, Mr. Enright?
Nothing, Mrs. Cobbledick. Nothing.
Well, you seem to be full of answers today, Mr. Enright. Why don't you come up here and on the diagram show the class where the clitoris is?
Okay. Is it under the butt?
Why, no, Heath. It is not under the butt.
He doesn't know where the clitoris is. He doesn't know where the clearance is.
You guys don't. Stop. Let me. Stop.
Buddy, Heath, wake up, buddy.
Stop it.
Whoa.
Stop it.
Whoa, take it easy, man. Everything all right there, buddy?
Leave me alone. Hate this stupid clitoris.
And we're back. When we left off, a guy had a toothbrush in his urethra.
Oh, Jesus
And
Christ.
Speaking of amazing segues again, what's next, Heath?
Okay, so the groundwork's been laid by some creepy European dudes and one super creepy American dude, and now it's time to meet one more very important research team. And they're arguably the best named crew in science history, in my opinion. The Sexology team of Masters and Johnson. That's William Masters and Virginia Johnson, for realsies.
Okay, wait. So not only do we have those surnames, but their first names are Willie and the closest to vagina you can get and still be a name.
That's correct. And they had many important discoveries, perhaps most notably the discovery that having exactly 0 female sexologists in the entire history of the field was probably a bad idea.
Or it's that sexology is missing that nurturing vibe. And that's-
Yeah, but her last name is named after a dick, so we'll just let her in. It's okay. Yeah.
All right, well, again, it's great that a woman finally entered this field, especially since the field was basically, what the fuck is happening with those lady parts? I come every time. Ology. But just to be clear, this wasn't exactly like a big progressive effort by William Masters to help get a job for a qualified female scientist. He hired Virginia Johnson to be his secretary for his fuck study, and then he started fucking her. And he eventually left his wife and married Virginia Johnson. All that being said, they got in some good work together, and rather than just asking for verbal testimony from their subjects, Masters and Johnson were the first researchers in the field to really incorporate like quantifiable physiological measurements into the work.
1950s Heath is just like, it's cold in here. Let me hold the ruler. Banana oil.
Pushing the fat. You're allowed to push in the fat. We established that. You said we could start at the taint. You push in the fat, you start from the taint.
Because nothing says sexy like some dude standing over you with a stopwatch and a clipboard, right?
Tom, I asked, you said no. That could have been the end of it.
No, what I said was get a nicer clipboard and we'll talk.
Need a lap button on this thing. A lap button would be perfect. All right, so one of the most important contributions from Masters and Johnson was their 4-stage model of the sexual response. Stage 1 is the excitement phase, or the initial arousal. Stage 2 is the plateau phase, which is full arousal but still pre-orgasm. Stage 3 is orgasm. And stage 4 is called nobody gives a fuck.
Yeah. Stage 4 is actually that awkward conversation where you see if she's going to stay the night.
But you're married.
Yeah, it doesn't make it less awkward either. It's still awkward.
All right, I'm no sexologist here, but I feel like if the excitement phase ends when you start fucking, you're doing it wrong, aren't you?
That sounds reasonable. So Masters and Johnson were also the first sexologists to write about the refractory period for men that cursed us to one orgasm at a time, in contrast to women who can apparently just keep doing that over and over if they want. Probably a good thing that I don't have that ability, because I'd literally never go to work. Or I'd just be like coming every 10 seconds at work. Like, I don't know how they get any work done. And another important piece of their work involved an investigation into the sexual habits of gay couples and lesbian couples, which gave them some insight into general trends of men versus women as well. I especially enjoyed their commentary about the difference between how gay couples handled, like, sexual logistics as compared to lesbian couples. According to their notes, quote, male homosexual subjects interacting with previously unknown male partners would discuss procedural matters, but quite briefly. Usually the discussion consisted of just a question or a suggestion, but often it was limited to nonverbal communicative expressions such as eye contact or hand movement, any of which usually proved sufficient to establish the protocol of partner interaction, end quote.
You guys are picturing baseball signals too, right? Just like
Exactly.
Actually, Eli, I'm still picturing the guy with a toothbrush shoved up his dick hole, but I'm probably not going to stop picturing that for a couple days now. So, yeah.
I'm still picturing Cecil's dick.
It's just two dudes like grunting and gesturing at their cocks with an arched eyebrow. Like they say romance is dead. I don't know. Beautiful.
Well, but to be fair, though, gay guys have to do this because, like, after the first time they both try to fuck each other in the ass, like they're trying to figure out who bats first. They got to say, okay, we have to lay some ground rules.
You got to
here.
spin around the other guy. You spin move.
Spin move. Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know. What would be the sick? Doesn't matter. We'll talk it over some other time. But so the lesbian pairings, they ran their show way differently. Masters and Johnson reported the following, quote, while initial stimulative activity tended to be on a mutual basis, in short order, control of the specific sexual experience usually was assumed by one partner. The assumption of control was established without verbal communication and frequently with no obvious nonverbal direction. Although on one occasion, discussion as to procedural strategy continued even as the couple was interacting physically. End quote.
Two lesbians hunched over a diagram of a vagina, pushing little plastic figurines of generals around.
Yeah, eventually they just put their clothes back on and play Risk for 7 hours. Like, what were we doing?
That's sex.
Yeah, so Masters and Johnson definitely moved things forward, but unfortunately, their story has a bigot chapter as well. Between 1968 and 1977, William Masters tried to focus their work on curing the disease of homosexuality with conversion therapy. And at one point, he reported having a 71.6% success rate. Not sure what that final hetero test looked like, but that's the claim he made.
I got a note for you. That's a weird PS. Oh, by the way, they shocked a bunch of people into pretending to be straight for a decade, but lesbians don't plan sex, so, squaresies.
Yeah, so despite their obvious flaws, like any good sexology team or person writing an essay, Masters and Johnson were really in it for the dysfunctional stuff and the weird stuff. And they got all up in there in all the good ways. In terms of sexual dysfunction, they were important pioneers in coming up with improved new treatments for issues like premature ejaculation, impotence, and also something called female frigidity, which is apparently the term they were using for not wanting to fuck me right now.
Is the cure stop fingering people like you're trying to thread the world's largest needle?
Step 1, hold the thread in your fist.
Wait, what's step 2? I'm trying to take notes here. Step 1.
Punch her in the love button.
Interior wall.
Yeah.
But most importantly, Masters and Johnson also studied a giant group of test subjects over the course of multiple decades. And before the internet even existed, they were learning all about the stuff that people use incognito windows to search for now. And they did a whole bunch of firsthand research themselves.
Would you like to name some of them?
I'd like to name some of the paraphilias now. I'd like to go through some of the paraphilias. So, yeah, I'm going to go through some of my favorites. And everyone, just shout it out if you're into it and explain in detail why. Starting with abasiophilia, which is interest in people with impaired mobility.
So they can't get away? I get it.
A follow-up question. Would it count if their car just got repossessed? Does that?
All I know is the people of Walmart are rejoicing now.
Yeah, right.
All right. What about acrotomophilia, which is when you're into people with amputations? And, of course, that goes along with apodomnophilia, which is when you're into being the person with the amputations. Personally, I think I'm into both. I mean, I'd fuck a stump or fuck with a stump. It sounds pretty good either way.
I feel like this one depends a hell of a lot on what's been amputated, right?
Does it?
Well, but, okay, I feel like either you're an amputee or not, though, right? Like, can you be into being an amputee beforehand? and if so, what's it like to be the doctor that tells that guy he's going to lose a leg when he's just like, finally, I've been walking through the woods with honey smeared to the elbows for months.
All right. What about lactophilia? That means you're into breast milk sex. I guess you fuck the milk. I don't know.
Or it's cold out and you don't want to warm up the car just to go to the store. Judgy face. Jesus.
We've got asphyxiophilia, which means you're into being strangled. And okay, so no judgment, but just for the record, it's terrifying to be asked to be the pitcher for that one. There is a recently created Heath-shaped hole in a door that I'll probably have to pay for soon. On the plus side, there's not a dead lady that I killed by accident inside that door with a Heath-shaped hole in it.
Oh, right. You're not a cop.
Okay, Heath, you think that's bad? Try testing the waters when that's your thing.
Hell yeah. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
No.
So,
No.
hey, I was thinking, what if I almost murder you? but you didn't let me finish because I won't. I promise.
Very athletic, as you can see.
I feel like my default answer would be like, I barely know how to fuck, let alone regulate the path of air and blood to your brain. So, hard pass.
It does seem like the learning curve here is a little steep. It's like, okay, so that one was too hard. Okay, I'll just go back in time 10 minutes and then,
Jesus.
All right. Well, since everybody decided to get super chouchy about this one, let's move on to something else.
Thank you, Noah. 2 votes.
Anybody else have any more commentary about the choking one? No?
I'm not judging. I'm just not qualified. Like I didn't attend that HVAC seminar. You know, I'm just.
All right. So what about menophilia? That's when you're into menstruation sex.
Or, in layman's terms, you're fucking gross. You're gross. Get out of here with that.
You're going to show her that, negative face?
All right. What about autonepiophilia? And that's when you're aroused by the image of yourself in the form of an infant.
Yeah.
Fucking what?
You know Ted Cruz' wife burps him and changes his diaper. You just know it. You know it.
it's exactly why Pence calls his wife mother. Yeah.
What about liquidophilia? That's when you're into immersing your genitals in liquid. Doesn't matter which one, apparently. It just says any liquid.
I'd argue that a lot of people don't choose deep fryer on that.
Yeah, it probably does matter ultimately.
Yeah, I'm a plaster of Paris guy. I like to leave an impression. Yeah.
All right.
There's a little dent in this thing.
Somebody making a mold of a Lego
Wait,
penis?
hold on though. I got a question though, because like when you got your vasectomy, it's like when your cat dies, they imprint your balls in the plaster of Paris, and then they give it to you like your last time your balls were functioning.
I'm sorry. Do you have a mold of your cat's dead penis? What?
Dead
like
paw.
his paw
They put
print.
they do the paw print thing. You guys never hear of that? Where
Yeah.
when they kill your animal at the vet, certain vets they put a paw print in.
I think they have to do the penis if you ask them. I feel like they have to. It's the law.
He was setting me up the whole time. Good for you, buddy. Oh, that was awesome.
What about erotophonophilia? Anybody into this one? It means you're into murder, often of strangers. But sometimes close acquaintances, just not as often, I guess.
Oh.
Again, very hard to bring this one up during cuddles. I'm just going to say right now.
Thank you.
Like, I know we're not like kink shaming here, but if there's a line, this one would seem too crossing.
How could you consent to that?
And it feels like, yeah, because if there's a sadist to your masochist, you'd feel like they'd get weeded out of Tinder real quick, right? All right, I'll try it, but just this once. Well, yeah.
Yep, that's the point.
All right, what about mesophilia? That's when you're into breasts.
Okay.
But like way too much,
I don't
apparently.
understand
There's
that
like,
question.
I want to hear how it's too much.
Like, are you trying to get inside them? Like,
Yeah, is there one for like men who like to use their penis during sex? I mean, what the hell? Why would we need a word for liking tits?
I want to know how neutral I'm supposed to be about breasts.
Yeah, right?
Lovely. 5 out of 10.
Okay. You're a little bit of a hyperpeen. I don't know. Maybe you just back it off, get some fingers going, something. Yeah, that's a weird one. Okay. What about feederism? That's when you're into eating, feeding, and weight gain. Love it.
I wouldn't say I'm into it so much as I'm too lazy to stop doing it. Is that...
At least you're not as lazy as the guy who came up with that fucking name, feederism. Really?
Yeah. Everyone else got aphilia, and that guy was like, feeding. It was. Did you just say feeding-ism? Is that what you said just now?
Guys, we were doing philias.
Did you say eat fuck? Go with feederism. All right, and that leads us right into coprophilia, which is shit play. And I'm going to pair that, obviously, with Urolania, which ironically sounds like a nickname for Melania Trump. And
is that irony?
And Urolania is when you're into getting peed on and or being the peer.
Wait. Wouldn't one include the other? Who's fucking dropping a deuce and not peeing?
Like, how is this not a peanut butter chocolate thing, right? Like, at what point?
I like to eat the chocolate and then do the... No, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's not about a Reese's.
Someone's going to shit in your mouth now, Heath. You're going to fuck one of our listeners, and they're going to shit in your mouth because of that joke. And I am here for it.
I'll have a clipboard and a stopwatch. It'll be great.
Jesus. I feel like if shit play, though, is your thing, like, bitching about a little pee would be like bitching about the thread count on the linens. Right. Like... You're covered in shit. Now is not the time to sweat the small stuff.
That is the name of your book, by the way. That is the name of your book.
Tom's covered in shit. Okay, urine? Really? We're done here. You're disgusting. Grow up. All right. So what about metrophilia? That is poetry sex. That's a fucking great one.
One, totally doesn't exist. Two, if it did, it's called homosexuality. So I don't know.
Or limericks. No, wait, you were right.
Do you fuck a poem? I mean, I'm not saying I don't want to try this. I just don't know how you would do that.
You fucked the man from Nantucket.
Oh, okay.
I'm pretty sure that's how
you gotta find him.
All right. What about eproctophilia? That's fart sex.
Ooh. Follow-up question. Is their dildo the whoopee cushion?
All right. Nobody else wants to comment on fart sex. Noted. How about omarashi? This is a fun one. That's arousal from having a full bladder and or wetting yourself, or from seeing somebody else have a full bladder or wet themselves.
Like some dude just like wakes up with a piss boner. He's like, I have to pee. Or fuck, I'm not sure. My dick is autistic. I don't know. Jesus.
All right. And no more comments on that one either. I think we're getting a picture about everybody based on the silences. Okay. What about toxophilia? That is archery. It just says archery.
What? Well, I guess we get 5 votes for that girl from Hunger Games, though, right?
She can shoot me wherever she wants.
Yep. Ooh. No doubt. Okay.
Archery book.
How about fornophilia? And that's when you like turning a human being into a piece of furniture and then fucking the furniture, I guess.
What, like Ed Gein? What are we talking about here?
Yeah, girl, slip off that shiver robe and let's do it like the Ottoman.
All right. What about sophophilia, which means you have a learning fetish?
Hey, neckbeard, sitting at home, who thinks that's you? It's not you. It's not you. You know how you know it's not you? You're listening to a comedy podcast, not a book on tape about science.
See, well, now I use flashcards during sex, but I feel like that's more of a multitask than a kink. I don't know if that counts.
Than anything.
Okay, this last one, this is by far my favorite. There's something called symphorophilia, and that is a sexual fetish that involves staging disasters like car accidents. So
Jesus, I thought I did a lot
What?
of work lighting a few candles and putting on Barry White. Like, Jesus
No
Christ.
kidding, right? It's like
to win it.
I made this pineapple upside down cake and I lit a motorcyclist on fire. You want to fuck? I don't. No.
you had me at pineapple.
All right. So if you had to summarize what you've learned in one sentence, what would it be, Heath?
Well, basically, the entire field of sexology is a way for people to get research grants that pay for intensive study of their kinks. And I guess if that's not kid stuff, I think it's
All
fantastic.
right. So are you ready to face a quiz from the panel?
So it's this podcast.
I am ready.
All right, Heath, I'm going to go first. What is the most common excuse for not turning in your homework in sexology class? A, I know it's a group project, but I finished it solo. The Heath Enright story. B, I did it. I just did it at my other school in Niagara Falls, and you probably never heard of it. C, my dog ate it after I generously applied peanut butter to it. D, this
Silence.
never happens to me. Or E, my grandmother died.
All right. I'm gonna go with F. There's a toothbrush in my dick hole.
It is secret answer F. Oh, that hurts.
All right. So, Heath, obviously, there are still so many questions Sexology has yet to answer. Which of the following is the most burning? A, how come when you fuck sometimes and then you go pee afterwards, your stream, goes in two different directions for a second? Is it B, why did I stop having wet dreams? What happened? Is it C, did you come?
It's C. It's C. Question over. Question over. It's C. It's
is
C.
it D?
I said I already decided.
All right.
I already
Secret
decided.
answer C is incorrect. It's D.
Nope, it's correct, and it's not.
It
C.
is correct.
Because you said it.
Correct. Not correct.
All right, and just quick piece of advice: you got to wring it out so you don't get the double stream thing.
I
man.
gotta
You gotta-
wring
it's
out
like
my
a-
penis?
Wring it like a towel.
I gotta
wring
wring
it like a towel.
My
man.
life is filled with
Bring it
enough
like a
suffering.
towel.
Thank you.
Like twisting it.
Jesus Christ.
I will just
Yeah,
help
you
pee,
go- you
no
go-
shot. What?
Yeah, no.
You got to turn. You turn the elbows out.
No.
That is not worth it.
Yeah, I'd rather have a sprinkler.
Oh my God.
I'm okay with that.
You got to hit it with a hammer first.
You gotta stuff a toothbrush up there.
Really
That's the
scrub
key.
it out of there.
That's the key.
We'll talk.
Jesus.
We will not. Probably never again.
All right, guys. All right, guys. Getting to watch Heath's sexual coming of age story unfold here on Citation Needed has been
Beautiful.
largely
Thank
unsettling.
You.
What-
Wonderful.
What other topics will Heath learn about in his late 30s? A, how to buy a car without your dad coming with you to the dealership.
Not that one.
B, wearing a tie. Jesus Christ. He's a real mean. I'm sorry, man.
All right.
B, wearing a tie, you didn't loosen and slip over your head like a middle school kid. C, how to shop for food and then later cook some of it. Or D, basic telephone etiquette.
Mean, hurtful.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, that last one
That
is
is
mean.
super mean.
That
All right,
last
so
one's mean.
That's why it's the punchline.
That's super mean.
The supermarket thing, I've been trying to cut down on sugar so I don't buy my normal pallet of oatmeal cream pies anymore. But now what that means is I eat cheddar cheese like an apple in the car on the way home from the supermarket. So I feel like it got worse. I think it's less. I think that's decidedly less
If you're going to
healthy.
eat a whole brick of cheese, you need to scream the word keto while you do it.
He's just got a big. He's got a big cup of fondue. He's just chugging it. It's like, fucking hey, man. It's like fuck pumpkin spice, bitches. It's fondue season, motherfucker.
I haven't shit in 16 days.
Sugar's so bad for you. Sugar's so bad
I'm
for you.
losing weight. It's great. I don't circulate my blood anymore, but I am down 10 pounds.
Of
Feeling
blood.
great.
Oh God.
I feel like that was the wrongest answer ever. So I think Tom won. I'm pretty sure Tom won. He gets to host next week and choose next week's essayist.
All right, Noah, your turn, buddy.
All right. Just remember that you asked for this. And now I'm going to toss it over to Sarah for last week's Twitter answer and this week's Twitter question.
Thanks, Noah. Last week's question was, what will you leave inside your body for the paramedics to find to help promote the show upon your death? The answer comes from Nathan on Facebook with this. I'll have an unlicensed physician open me up and tattoo the words Jean Benet Ramsey and citationpod.com on my liver. This week's question is, make up the best first and last name of a sexology professor. Just retweet or Facebook share this episode with your answer for a chance to be next week's winner. Back to you, Noah.
All right. Well, for Tom, Cecil, Eli, and Heath, I'm Noah thanking you for hanging out with us today. We'll be back next week, and by then, I'll be an expert on something else. But between now and then, if you're looking for some more mellifluous us to make love to, you can hear more from us on The Scathing Atheist, The Skeptocrat, God-Awful Movies, and or Cognitive Dissonance. And if you want to help keep this show going, you can make a per-episode donation at patreon.com/citationpod or leave us a 5-star review everywhere you can. And if you'd like to get in touch with us, check out past episodes, connect with us on social media, or check the show notes, be sure to check out citationpod.com.
Okay, what about everybody I dated in high school? That's a good topic.
Keith, come on.
Nope.
Come on.
Nope.
All right. Okay, the history of my favorite chair.
No.
What? I thought that was a good one too. Okay, World War II.
That could be okay. That
Movies I watched with the girls I dated in high school.
Damn it.
Saving Ryan's Private.